Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Around the Town with Chuck. My name is Chuck Guglielmo, a weekly interview show where we talk with interesting people around the community. And today we've got the show out live at the Garcia Gymnasium at a Conneaut boys basketball practice. And we thought we'd do that this year and see what that's like. And with me is the varsity boys basketball coach for the Conneaut Spartans, Tim Talbaka, and one of his assistants, Nick Distelrath. Welcome to the show.
Hey, glad you guys are here, man. It's awesome. We really enjoy having you come out to our practice.
Yeah, it was nice seeing you guys. Thanks for having us.
First of all, it's hard to believe it's a basketball season already, although it seems a little longer period between the end of football and the start of basketball. Is that the way it's been?
Not necessarily. Actually, the state starts up games tomorrow night. Because we're in conference in Pennsylvania, our league season starts 2 weeks after Ohio starts. So we don't want to start right away when Ohio starts. So our opener is another week from now, only because we don't want to have our first game this Thursday or Friday. We're going to have a 10-day break. So that's why we're starting a bit later. But high school boys is starting. It's the same break as always is.
For you, Tim, now this is what, year 11 in Conneaut? Year 11 for Tim Talbaka here with the Conneaut Spartans. Looking at the schedule that you sent me today, one thing that's attractive to me is the travel. It's all Lake Erie travel from Fairport Harbor to Northeast. The only southern part we're going to go to Northwestern. That's about 10 minutes down the road.
Yeah, the schedule sets up pretty nice for us this year. We're one of the lucky ones. In District 10, our travel isn't that bad. There's some of our sports teams. I know football, we had a lot of long road trips this year. I know some of the other sports have had longer trips. We're fortunate, Fairview, Girard, like you mentioned, Northwestern. It's all right in Erie there. And matter of fact, the furthest school in our region from last year, Titusville, was moved out of our region and replaced with Iroquois. It's just on the near east side of Erie. So, yeah, schedule-wise, travel-wise, it's not bad for us.
Continuing to look at the schedule, there's a stretch there in January where you're going to be on the road a lot. 6 of the 8 games are on the road, and they're all against conference teams. That's kind of like the middle of the season, January, so I guess it's better to have your road games then than at the end.
Yeah, I see what you're saying on the schedule right there. We're kind of looking at our first 2 games to start the season off right now. There's some tough teams near Erie first. It was the second best team in our league last year. Fairview, Pennsylvania's, they were in the state semis, last season. So there's some tough competition there. We're just gonna take them one game at a time and try to get better with each possession, each game, each practice.
Of course, you got 2 assistants this year, Justin Sanford and Nick Distelrath. Talk a little bit about those 2 and what you kind of expect from them.
Well, they've done a fantastic job to this point. I've been really pleased with my coaching staff. Nick played for me the first couple of years at Conneaut, so he knows a lot of the stuff that we're trying to do on the floor. He's also got a great basketball mind. We coach football together, so we're already pretty familiar with each other. And it's been wonderful to have him on board this year. Justin's also the head coach of the volleyball team, as you probably know. Nice having another head coach to bounce ideas off of. Justin's in charge of the JV team this year. He's been doing great things with them. They've had a real good scrimmage season so far, but I couldn't be happier with my assistants at this point in time. We've got along real well. We're friends off the court as well as coaches together, and it's worked out real well.
Being in District 10, of course, those schools in Pennsylvania are pretty tough. They tend to be low-scoring games versus here in Ohio. Fairview's been the team to beat the last couple of years. What do you see in the conference this year?
Well, they're going to stay the team to beat. They have their entire team back besides their 6'11" center, who's playing for Army now, actually. But they have the rest of that team back, and they were good from top to bottom last year. Got to be at our best to be able to handle them this year. I think after them, like I said, Erie First Christian, depending upon what their personnel is, could be pretty good. Girard has a nice program. Mercier's Prep. We did beat them here last year. It was probably our biggest win of the season last year, but they have a lot of guys coming back. So I think, generally speaking, those are probably the top 3 or 4 teams in the league. We hope to finish right up there with those guys.
Shame on me for not starting with congratulating you, by the way, and being into the Hall of Fame at Hiram. That's quite an honor.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's kind of caught me by surprise. I was watching one of the Cavs meltdowns last spring against Boston. Got a phone call from a guy who was he was actually the swimming coach when I was at Hiram. He's in charge of the alumni committee now, and I thought maybe they'd hit me up for money, and he told me I was going to be in the Hall of Fame. And I was really thrilled by that, and I had a solid career there. I wasn't sure if I was Hall of Fame material, but hey, I'll take it. Now I was thrilled to have it. It was really a wonderful day to go down there.
I see you had one of the finest men in the area too presented to you, in Brad Ellis.
Yeah, he was my college coach. I know he's around here, he's associated as being Geneva's head basketball coach, but he was my college coach. He was in his early 30s at that point in time, and big influence on me and my coaching style. Like I said, a wonderful guy, and I was really fired to have him come present me.
Last weekend, of course, you had the preview over at Geneva, something you always have the day after Thanksgiving. How did that preview go? What did you see that you liked? What did you see that you think we're going to need to work on some more?
Well, we came out a little bit nervous, honestly. We played Chardon the first game, the first part of the preview. Chardon's got a nice basketball team. They're one of the better teams up in Geauga County area. We played a little bit scared. We turned the ball over. We had some unforced turnovers, which can kill you against a team like that. Seemed to settle down against Geneva and Grand Valley. Actually, we shot the ball really well against Grand Valley, who's one of our non-conference opponents this year. Geneva's got a lot of athleticism. I think we could have probably handled that a little better than we did. But it's nice to get the guys out there in front of the bright lights for the first time, not being a game situation, and get some of those jitters out.
2 years ago, Tim, you had Austin Dell, who came on like gangbusters, especially in the second half of the season with his scoring. Last year, Nathan Square, of course, he had that big game against Mercyhurst Prep where he didn't miss a free throw. Who's that go-to guy, do you think, this year, or are we still searching for that?
Well, it starts with our seniors, Blaine McLaughlin and Mike Furl. Mike was playing very well last year until he broke his elbow and was able to finish the season with us. Blaine started pretty much the whole season for us. He's improved by leaps and bounds. Had a great soccer season this year for us. So one of those two guys, Kyle Woods has varsity experience. Jeremiah Ortiz, probably our fastest guy, has varsity experience. So I think it's going to be more of a team thing this year as far as the points we're going to score.
Very good, Tim. I'll let you get back to practice, and maybe Nick can slide over and we'll do a little talking with Nick.
Hey, thanks so much. Really appreciate you guys coming out and supporting us like this. Thank you.
Absolutely. Good luck. One of the assistants now are going to join us, Nick Distelrath. Nick, I haven't seen you in a long time. I'm used to seeing you on the football field. I almost forgot that you were a basketball player for Conneaut. Now we're going back to what years?
I went from 2004, 2005 being my freshman year to 2007, 2008 being my senior year. In the last 2 years of playing with Coach Talbach as the coach.
What brought you to want to help out with the Spartans here? What was your interest in it?
Well, it was about halfway through the football season. Coach Talbach, I already been thinking about asking him, but Coach Talbach, I knew he was looking for another assistant for basketball. He approached me, and I love the game of basketball, love the game of football. I love the city of Conneaut. I came back for a reason, and I want to be here to help these kids, not just in the sport, but become fine young men.
Of course, you're one of four great Distelrath boys that I know. The oldest one, Brian, of course, is I believe he's still in criminal justice.
Yes.
And Denny, of course, is wrestling over there at the middle school, coaching, substituting here in Conneaut. And then there's Marcus. I lost track of Marcus.
Mark is actually in Fort Benning. No, he just transferred to Fort Stewart, Georgia, and he's in the Army.
Good for him. And you down in Texas, did you say?
He's in Georgia.
Georgia. Let's reminisce a little bit, Nick. Let's go back to your football. What do you remember? What was some of your big highlights for yourself playing football for the Spartans?
I really don't think about that too much anymore, but the thing I think about the most about football is just being around my friends and being part of a family outside of my actual family.
Very good. Okay, Nick, thanks a lot, and good luck to you this year. And we'll have Justin slide over here.
I'm in the hot seat.
Justin Sanford, of course, we've interviewed Justin a couple times recently in the last few months, and now it's the basketball season. Remember, we were outside. I think we were sweating on whiteout night. It was so hot.
Yeah, whiteout game was great weather.
Justin, before we get into basketball a little bit, I know we've talked a little bit about the volleyball team. I don't know much about volleyball, but I think you and I worked something out where you're going to, for next volleyball season, you're going to give me some questions because I'd like to really recognize the volleyball team as well. How would you say overall your season went there?
Season record-wise was rough. We only won one match. I think we were 1-21. So down from previous years. But this was my fourth season and was by far up there for the number one season so far. I mean, we did just mentality-wise. It was great. The girls showed up in the gym every day. They worked hard. They didn't give up. Funny, our last game, we lost in 5 sets. It was a barn burner, and I told them after the match. I don't think they really got the analogy, but I kind of compared them to Rocky. In that first movie where Rocky's the underdog and he comes in and he just gets the crap beat out of him the whole bout. but he doesn't stop. He gets up every time and keeps moving forward, and that was the volleyball team this year. They didn't give up on each other. They played together, and they just, like I said, they got up every time and kept moving forward, and it was a really good year despite the record.
Well, it's your main job now here with the boys basketball team is coaching the junior varsity team, which is basically freshman, sophomore, maybe some juniors.
Yeah, freshman, sophomore. I think we got maybe one junior, maybe two, depending. But yeah, the young guys. Yeah, the young guys, which is a different role for me this year. Last year I was Coach Taubach's assistant. So this year I've actually got to, do a little bit of coaching as far as, X's and O's goes, which isn't my strong suit. I know the game, I can play, but when it comes to a whiteboard and drawing stuff up, that's where, I'm a little bit weaker. But Coach Taubach is great. He's been helping me out with that. So, but good group of freshmen coming in. Sophomores are great, really good attitudes. They're playing hard. They work hard. They want to be in the gym, and so that's always good.
What take us through now? We're here at a practice at Garcia Gymnasium. Tell us exactly what everybody's doing here, and is it the same thing you do every practice, or do you switch things up?
No, Coach Taubach does a really good job of writing practice out. He switches it up, tries to keep it fun and keep everybody engaged. But right now, it's the end of practice. What they're doing is they're shooting your teammate home is what it's called. So the guy behind you has to make the shot so you can leave, kind of thing. So until they make the shot, you can't go home. You guys can go where Burkhart's standing right now. He's got to wait until someone makes a shot. So now he can leave, and now Wiley's up, and so he has to wait until someone makes a shot, and then they can go home. But yeah, the practices are Coach does a good job of switching in between drills and keeping it moving, keeping the energy up. So,
what are your goals for this year's team? What are you anticipating? How are you anticipating the season will go? Varsity.
Yeah, varsity-wise, yeah. I mean, my expectation, coming from, in the second year from last year and being with these guys last year, the expectation's pretty high. Last year, again, wasn't great record-wise, but these guys have been together, playing together for a few years now. The expectation's pretty high to have a winning season. It's been a while, I think, since that's happened. So, that's the expectation. And these guys, they're scrappy. We're going to be undersized probably pretty every game we play. We don't have a lot of height, but they got a lot of heart. They just hustle hard and play hard. There's a lot of rolling around on the ground. You know what I mean? A lot of grinding it out, gritty stuff. That we want to. Coach wants to get out and run a little bit. I think keep the pace up if we can. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see what these guys can do.
Talking about expectations being high, I'm almost positive they're going to be high for Mikey Furrow, because he missed about 50% of the season, if not more, last year, and he was having a good campaign. He probably wants to do nothing more than to bounce back.
Oh yeah, Mike for sure. Mike's got a big chip on his shoulder for sure. If I know Mike, like you said, missing a good portion of the season last year, and he was having such a great year before the injury, and then to have to sit, and he did get back in for the playoff game at Chardon, but being out that long, didn't have his legs under him in that game. So, but yeah, he, he's a leader on the floor, knows the game well, just a really good shooter as well, 3-point shooter, hustles. He's actually plays a lot bigger than he is. He's really physical, especially getting rebounds and stuff like that. So looking forward to seeing what he can do this year with a full season.
I've got one final question for you, Justin, then we'll start interviewing some of the players. One player I was kind of impressed with what I saw last year, and I'm anxious to see a little bit more of him. I was excited to see him in spurts at times, and that's Anthony Burkhart. Can you talk a little bit about him?
Yeah, Anthony was a freshman last year, so he's a sophomore this year. Just a big kid. He's one of our bigger players. Just has a lot of natural ability. He's in junior high. I'm sure he was a lot bigger than most of the kids he was playing against and with. And same thing last year. We didn't play a lot of JV. Got into some varsity matches, but he's been really working hard on his game. He comes in the gym and works hard. He's got high expectations for himself, so he wants to do well, and he comes in and works hard, gives everything he has, and I definitely, like you, am excited to see what he can do out on the varsity court this year.
Justin Sanford, good luck to you and the Conneaut Spartans. And while we're waiting for some player interviews, Matt, why don't you see if you can swing the camera and show some of the players? as we wait for the players to come. All right, now we're going to start doing some player interviews, and the first one we're going to interview here is Mike Furrow. Mike, number 3 is not your number, is it?
I don't know, honestly. I don't remember what I picked.
They got 3 here on the roster, but I don't.
Yeah.
What number was you last year?
3.
Oh, you were 3. Okay, Mike. First thing I got to ask you is talk about that injury and how have you rebounded from it?
Well, it took a while, but I'm finally shooting again. That's about it.
You were having a good campaign there. I think you missed, maybe you played 11 games or missed 11. I think it was about half and half, right?
Yeah. I think I only played like 6 or 7 total games last year.
You were having a great season, too, scoring a ton of points for the Conneaut Spartans, and then unfortunately you were struck with that injury. What is it, how did you recover from that injury? What did you have to do to get back in shape?
I had to just rest it because it was just an avulsion fracture in my elbow, so that's all I had to do. It was a lot of rest.
One thing that it didn't stop you from doing, though, was playing baseball for Bill Lips and the Conneaut Spartans. Quite a season you had, quite a season the Spartans had in baseball, something they haven't had for a while. Tell me about it, your performance. I remember one game, I think you got a big hit and cleared the bases.
Yeah, we had a good season. Coach Lips really turned the program around. He works us hard. It's a lot different from our last coach.
Does he work you harder than Talbaka?
Don't tell him, but yeah.
Take me through a Tim Talbaka practice. Tell us everything you guys were doing here tonight.
Working on a lot of man and zone coverages because we got St. John and they're primarily zone, so we've really just been preparing for St. John the past week.
Yeah, we got them twice, I see, on the schedule. What do you know about the Heralds?
Jacob. Is it Jacob Hartman? Jacob Hartman, that's what we know.
Tell me, I don't know him.
6'6", maybe 6'4". Jumps out of the gym. Yeah.
Well, Mikey, we want to wish you good luck this year. Hopefully you're going to play 22-plus games, counting a tournament, and stay healthy and keep shooting threes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Mikey Furrow in the hot seat. Now we're going to have Blaine McLaughlin move into the hot seat over here. Blaine will be my guest. I don't think I've ever had a chance to talk to Blaine McLaughlin. I know Blaine, tremendous soccer season for the Spartans and for you. Talk a little bit about that.
We had a good season. We're 8-2, so we could have done better, but winning 8 games was a big improvement from last year, so I'm happy with it.
And weren't you didn't you get some kind of a District 10 award in soccer?
I got Erie Breakout Player of the Week, which is like with all the regions, so out of a lot of teams, you get nominated for your performances each week, and I ended up getting enough votes to win eventually.
Obviously, you like soccer and you like basketball. Now, I'm going to make a guess, Blaine, and I want you to be honest with me, but I'm going to make a guess. You like soccer better than basketball, am I right?
That's true.
Tell me why.
I don't know. I love basketball, but soccer's more fun. I'm better at soccer, honestly. So,
Blaine McLaughlin, my guest here on Around the Town with Chuck. Blaine, what are you looking forward to for yourself coming into this basketball season as a senior?
I really want to win some games this year. Last year we won more than the year before, but I want to win even more than last year. Beating St. John would be a good start because we beat them twice last year, but they always give us a good game, so I'm looking forward to that.
16 of your 22 games, of course, are conference games. Do you put a little bit more emphasis into conference games, or do you put emphasis into every time you go out there on the basketball court?
We put emphasis every single game. We try to win every single game no matter what it is, even though some of them, like the county games, are a little more fun just because we know some of the people. Like, we have open gym here in the summer, and some of the St. John guys and the St. John coach comes because coach is friends with them. So, I mean, we know those guys playing with them. We don't really know some of the kids up in here or anything, so.
Watching you play last year, Blaine, I got the sense at times, you let me know if I'm wrong, because you got a good shot. You're a pretty good shooter, but sometimes it looked to me like you were hesitant to shoot. Do you think that was the case?
Yeah, sometimes I should have shot more than I did. Sometimes I would be too scared to mess up, and gaining experience, I don't think it'll be like that as much this year.
Do you look at yourself as Austin Dell did 2 years ago and Nate Scorer did last year as the go-to guy when we need points?
Me or Mikey. Mikey's got a pretty good shot too. He's a better shooter than anybody here, so either him or me, but we're definitely going to have to score some points this year to win some games.
Blaine McLaughlin, good luck to you. Blaine McLaughlin of the Conneaut Spartans, and we'll be having a couple of more players. Blaine can go get me that Kyle Woods over there. Hi, Kyle. How are you?
I'm all right.
Kyle Woods, my old buddy over here on the basketball team, a junior. It just seemed like you were in 8th grade.
Yeah, time really goes by once you get into high school, It just feels like yesterday I picked up a basketball for the first time, so, it goes by fast.
Kyle Woods, of course, played on the football team as well and suffered an injury late in the season. I believe it was late in the season. Kyle, tell us how you suffered that injury and how you're recovering.
I caught a pass and I accidentally hyperextended my left knee, and I just took a couple weeks off. I was actually playing Sunday basketball down in Madison, and it feels pretty much new. I think, Mrs. Brown was able to help me, and, my parents they steered me in the right direction as far as getting back and recovering.
Last year, Kyle, I remember you having a monster game here. I don't remember who it was against. I'm sure you do. You're going to tell me in a minute. And you were feeling it that night, and I think you want to feel it a little bit more multiple nights this year.
Absolutely. Hopefully I can feel it every single night, but if I don't, I'm just going to keep doing my job out there, do the dirty work, and have a good season.
What are you most what would you say your game right now is? Would you consider yourself more of an offensive player or more of a defensive player?
Well, I think I strive to be a defensive player more, but I think I get used in the offense a little more, and that's where I'm most comfortable at is, getting rebounds and putting it up or taking a jump shot. But, obviously defense, I always work to improve it. I actually, I work hard in the off season to improve my defense because not a lot of players want to play defense, so that's important to me.
You have Tim Talbach as your varsity coach, and you have Justin Sanford and Nick Distelrath as your assistant coaches. At a practice, tell me how they respond to you. What do you learn from those three?
Well, it's a lot. There's footwork with Coach Sanford when we go down on post work. Footwork is a big thing, and Coach Distelrath helps me out with free throws, and he helps a lot of the younger guys out with free throws. And, just making us look better in the offense. They're like another set of eyes, basically, for Coach Talbach, and it helps us look better. I think helps us function better.
Well, Kyle, I'm thinking you're going to have a breakout season here in your junior year. Just think we got you again next year. Stay healthy because I think you can be a big asset to the Conneaut Spartans.
Absolutely. That's what I strive to be, motivate my teammates and, get the crowd into it. That's my job.
Okay, your assignment now is to go get me Jeremiah Ortiz because I know he's just dying to come onto the show.
He really likes being here, so thanks, man.
All right, we've got Jeremiah Ortiz. I was just telling Kyle Woods to go get you next because I know you are dying to come on my show. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, you're right. I watch it all the time. I love it. It's a good show around our town. That's something we need.
That's good. Jeremiah, you shot up in height. At least it looks like to me. What do they got you here on the roster? They got you at 5'10". Is that right?
Yeah, it should be.
5'10" junior already for Jeremiah Ortiz. Okay, Jeremiah, let's go back a year and tell me what you liked and what you didn't like about yourself playing basketball. In other words, tell me what you want to improve on coming into this year.
Well, last year I think I definitely knew how to play the basketball game, but I definitely need to improve on defense, and that's something I need to strive for every day at practice, and that's something we all need to strive for. Better, if we play good man-to-man defense, we're going to have a good season, so that's what I think I really need to improve on.
Are you one of those players that believe that practice, that's the only way you can become great?
Oh, for sure. At the summer, I'm usually there, township 24/7. I love the practice. We all love practice.
I remember chatting with you on Facebook. You spent some time in the Cleveland area.
Yeah.
What were you doing in the Cleveland area when you're a Pittsburgh sports fan?
Well, last year players Spencer Schwartzfigger and Ethan Parker, they have an apartment up there in Cleveland State for their college, and I went up there and played some basketball with them and stayed up there for a little bit. It was a good experience, but I wasn't there for the Cleveland sports.
How did the preview go for you in Geneva? For you, not necessarily the team. What did you like? What didn't you like?
I like how our team stayed together and played, but I was rushed a lot. I rushed when I got trapped and threw the ball away a few times, but I just need to slow down and get it under control.
2 years ago, Austin Dell was the go-to guy when the Spartans needed points. Last year, it was Nathan Squera. This year, I'm looking at 3 players. You're one of the 3. What are you looking at
Like the player-wise?
when you need some points? I mean, we got Furrow, we've got McLaughlin, we got yourself. Are you the big 3?
Yeah, and I definitely think you include Kyle in there because he can score at will in the post. He's a really good post player. He's put some time in the post, and they got to respect that, him in the post.
What would you say would be a big advantage for you on opening night?
Fast break, definitely. We can run the fast break if we get the ball, rebound, look down the floor. I started that my sophomore year with Nathan Square, run the fast break, and we're really good at that. So if we do that, we're going to get at least 10 to 12 points off that, and that's going to help our offense.
Do we have any players left? I was trying to get Anthony Burkhart, but I see they're gone, huh?
No, they're all gone.
They're all gone. So you're the last one, Jeremiah. So what do you think? 22 regular season games, 16 of those are conference games. Do you know anything about the conference? Usually Fairview has been the team to beat the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I know opening night, St. John, it's going to be a big, big game. We expect to beat them, and I hope we do. Mercyhurst Prep, too, that's a game we're looking at to really show ourselves. And just like last year, we were really underdogs, but we showed ourselves, and we beat them.
Yeah, big upset win here over Mercyhurst Prep. You almost beat Girard here, too, the last couple seconds. 6 wins last year, but it could have been 9.
Yeah, for sure. We lost a lot of close games and definitely games in overtime that we could have won. But those moments, we just got to practice. And when it comes down to the clock, we just got to learn what to do in that moment.
All right, Jeremiah, thank you very much. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Jeremiah Ortiz, our final guest here on Around the Town with Chuck. It's been a real treat to be out here live at a Conneaut Boys basketball preview.